recording this so that we will be able to distribute it to others and also check on anything we said. We have 4 people from the help desk with us today. That's Maria Foltz, Christine Fresnel, Jenna Sharp, and Margaret Incombe. Between them, they have answered every question, I think, that has ever come to the help desk, and they are very knowledgeable and very experienced. So at this point, I'd just like to turn it over to them and also say if you have questions that you want to discuss, just put them in the chat at the end. Okay, so I'm going to turn, Maria, are you the first presenter or the coordinator of the 4? So please go ahead. Thank you. You're on mute still.
I know. Good morning and good afternoon to everybody. I'm going to go with the first slide, and I will let you know more or less what this is about. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So we will try today to answer to the most common questions that we receive daily in the user support team. I will not be doing this alone, as we are very lucky today, and 3 of my colleagues from the team and from the WHO library and Research4Life user support and institution management team will be answering some of the questions. We will not be touching and answering technical questions because there will be another webinar the 25th of June. I hope that it's been already announced. I hope that you are registered for that one. And maybe one of my colleagues can put the link to the registration in the chat. We have thought that it will be better for this webinar that you ask your questions for each slide, as we will be touching very different subjects. If we see that in some of them there are a lot of questions, we will need to leave them to the end. But we thought that it would be more agile if we answer the questions as the slide is on, so we don't have then in the end to go back to look for the pertinent slide. Okay. We understand that all of you are from registered institutions, so we are not going to talk about the registration process and all of that, that we receive also a lot of questions, but we thought that it was not going to be very useful for this webinar, since all of you are from registered institutions. Okay, so let's start because this is long and we need all the time we have. You see here the list of the subjects we are going to talk about. There are some more, and they are not exactly in this order, as we try to order things in a more logical way, like one answer takes you to another and so on. So let's start. First question, why my institution is not in the published list? We get this a lot. As you know, we have a list of registered universities and professional schools. To help, we thought this, to help students to know if their university or college or professional school is registered. It's not the list of all the institutions. If your institution is a research institute, a government office, a national library, an agricultural extension center, or an NGO, it will not be in that list. Then, how do I know if my institution is registered? Well, the first thing we suggest you to do is to ask your librarian, who will know if your institution is registered. Or you can also ask us by sending an email to r4l@research4life.org. We will repeat this address a lot of times during this webinar. This is the address where you can address, all your questions. Who can access Research4Life? So we send the login details to the librarian and the director, but it's intended to be shared with all the staff, researchers, professors, administrative staff, students of the registered institutions that are eligible to access, as long as they abide by the guidelines that are in the license. We will talk about the license later. However, I would like to let you know that there is a summary of the license, of the terms of use of Research4Life in our frequent asked questions in the web. We will talk about our frequent asked questions also later, but you can have a look there to know what users can and cannot do. In the institutions like national libraries and others where there are online on-site visitors, walk-in visitors, we need a staff member to log in to allow these people to access the content, so that on-site visitors don't know the username and password. So how do I get my institutional username and password? This will be the answer to a lot of questions. Ask your librarian. You have to contact your librarian to get the information. If the librarian doesn't know or doesn't remember the username and the password, please ask your librarian to send us an email at the address I mentioned before. I will reread it now, and maybe it's the last time, which is r4l@research4life.org. We don't send username and passwords to end users. We only communicate this information to our official contacts that are the librarian and director of each institution. Don't ask us for what is my username, because if you are not the librarian, we are going to ask your librarian. So the next slides is my colleague, Christine Frenel, from the team and from the WHO library, who will be answering them.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
I will start just my video. I think
And now we can see you also.
Okay, so good morning, good afternoon. So I'm gonna repeat a bit what Maria just said. So my librarian doesn't know the password. How can my institution get it? As Maria just said, your institution, normally its focal points are your librarian and your director. So if your librarian doesn't know the password, that means that maybe he has changed and the librarian left and there's a new librarian, and he has to contact us at the address email that Maria told about just before. And he has to provide the following information. Please, next. he needs to send us an email to say what is the country, the institution name, and explain that he's a new librarian with his email address. So preferably we would like to have some institutional email address. So that means the email from the institution, from the network of the institution, but he can provide also a private email plus an institutional email address. We need also the information for the director and the computer support contact as well. Once we have the information, we will send an email, a welcome message to the librarian and the director in order they have the updated ID and password. Please next. I'm leaving my institution. Can I still use the username and password to access Research4Life content? So the answer is no. If you leave the institution, the ID and password belong to the institution where you were. So if you leave the institution to go to a new institution, you can check with the new institution and the librarian for this new institution if they have registered to Research4Life. If not, you can just let them know that this program exists. And if the institution is eligible, please, they need to enroll for the program. Next, please. If you are the librarian, so what you should do is to, please next, you can just, if you are the librarian and you know that the new librarian is coming, please give him all the information that you have to the new librarian. Otherwise, ask the librarian to contact us and we will change the contact in our records in order to send him the welcome message for this new librarian. Thank you. Next. My password doesn't work. So if your password doesn't work, there's a different reason. First of all, please check with your librarian again to make sure that you have the correct password. Next, please. If you have the correct password, and if you are doing, if you do a copy and paste of this password, please make sure it's case sensitive, the password. So make sure you don't have a space in between, before or after the password. As well for the username, it's important that there is no space before and after. And next, please. And you have two possibilities. Either you close all the browsers and you open a new browser in a private window. For instance, on the screen, you can see incognito logo, which is for Chrome. So you close all the other browser, you open one private window, and then you copy and paste the link, login, the one that you can see, https login.research4life.org, tag, for you copy and paste this link, which is the link to the portal. And then you try again with the ID and password, say case sensitive again, and normally it works. In case it doesn't work, next please. If it still doesn't work, you contact us and we are going to check what is the problem. But first, you need to ask your librarian to contact us. This is very important because the librarian is supposed to have the ID and password updated once. Thank you. I think it's over for me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Another question that we have a lot, maybe it's not exactly like this, what content can I access? But we have a lot of, can my institution access Elsevier or Taylor and Francis or this specific journal or questions like this? So this information is available to everybody in the Research4Life portal. So here in the hamburger menu, if you click on it, it opens this drop box. And at the end, there is reports. And there are two tabs, country offer and title list. If you link on country offer, this page opens. In this page, you have to select your country and your institution category, if it's a university, an NGO, whatever, and then click on Find. Once done, we here, for this example, we selected Vietnam and a university. So once you click on Find, you have a list of all the content that a university from Vietnam can access. As you see here, there are some figures. The first one, full access. Vietnam is a group B country. So these first figures here are the content available for an institution that paid the Research4Life fee. And the second is for the institutions which status is unpaid, that could not or decided not to pay the Research4Life fee. Please make attention to these symbols that are in front of each name of the publisher, which means when there is the green square, it means that this content is available to everybody because it's open access or it's freely available. We try to anticipate what will happen next year, so institutions, especially those from Group B, can make decisions. So the yellow star means that this content will be available starting next calendar year. The blue X means this will not be available anymore next year. And this, the last one, is a very important symbol. This is a piece of the list of the beginning of the list of the content accessible for universities in Vietnam. As you see, there are some publishers with this symbol in front of them. As you see, there are some publishers that decided to offer their content also to institutions that have not paid, with unpaid status, that cannot or decided not to pay. So we receive sometimes emails from institutions telling, oh, my institution cannot pay this year, please cancel our registration. And we always answer to them, don't do it, because, however, even if your institution cannot pay, there is a significant amount of content that is still available to the users of the registered institutions. Christine has raised her hand.
Yeah, there is one question that I think that maybe can be answered from here.
Yeah.
So it's from Tsuma Takasil. Sorry if I pronounce it not correctly. I would like to find out if the resources available in Research4Life under the publisher Taylor and Francis are still the same with those found on Taylor and Francis subscribed platform. Well, I'm not sure about the question, but I think that yes, what is available from Taylor and Francis in Research4Life is what you can find normally, but maybe not all the collections depend on what the publisher wants to offer to the country. And Kimberly will complete, I think. Sorry.
Okay. Kim, please.
So there's two possible answers to the question. One is Taylor and Francis providing to Research4Life everything that they publish? And the answer to that question is no, they are not. So there's additional content that Taylor and Francis sells that they do not make available through Research for Life. Every publisher is making the choice of what they make available through Research for Life. So some, it's the entirety of what they publish, and others, it's a partial subset. The other part of the question is, if Taylor and Francis is available in your country, is that everything Taylor and Francis is offering through Research for Life? So if you see Taylor and Francis on the country offer page that Maria has been describing, then everything that Taylor and Francis offers through Research for Life is available in your country. There's nothing that's available in some countries in Research for Life and not other countries in Research for Life. It's either everything Taylor and Francis provides or nothing that they provide.
Okay, Christine, there are more questions. Okay, I don't think so. I'm going ahead. As I just want to remember you these symbols in front of the name of the publishers in the list. There is another thing that can help also to answer the question we got before. That is this title list. You can check which titles of each publisher are available for your institution. So you can, if you click on title list, you go to this page open, and you can export the list of journals, books, and other resources that are available. One thing, the country offer, the information in the country offer page is open to everybody. You don't need to be logged in to access to it. I strongly suggest to log in before exporting this list, because if you are logged in, you get the list that includes only the content available to your institution. If you are not logged in, you will get a huge list of all the titles of all the publishers that offer their content to Research for Life that can be not available for your institution. Okay, for this super important question, my colleague Margaret will be explaining exactly what happens when you cannot access a resource that should be accessible to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this session where we have the question, I can't access a book or journal that should be accessible for my institution. Essentially, a Research for Life platform is to help you get access to content that the publisher has offered. And it so happens that in many cases that we find error page or error message, and the end users get frustrated. So there are several ways in which you can access content, and that can be used. Most people go through the A to Z list that we find on the landing page, or they use the box with the magnifying glass to do a search for the content that they are interested in. Next slide, please. Once you've identified the content that you are interested in, we should like to remind you to pay attention to the access key, which will indicate which content is provided by that publisher, or which one is open access, which one is free, or the ones that are just not accessible at all. So the access key should give you an indication of what is available. If it so happens that you still cannot access full text and you're wondering what you should do, we are here to help, of course, because R4L platform, again, is to help you gain access to publications that you would normally not be able to. So what should you do? Well, next slide, please. We suggest that you start by asking your librarian, because they are the point of contact who would give you the username and password credentials for your institution. And sometimes it could be that you're using an old credential that is no longer working for your institution. So that is why we recommend that start by asking your librarian, or there could be staff turnover. So this is a point whereby if it's a new librarian, they then have to contact the help desk and ask for the username and password. If it so happens that you are using the correct credentials, what else should you do? Well, we encourage that you report your experience or your problem to the Research4Life help desk. And the email, once again, which has been repeated before, is r4l@research4life.org. We would recommend and suggest that in your writing, be as precise and detailed as possible. Because when we get this report, we need to replicate, we need to verify that it is indeed a problem. We investigate. So it would be helpful if you can let us know where you're trying to access this content from. Be precise, identify yourself, at least the country or the institution. Put your username and also screenshots. This is so helpful, because there's different contents that are available for some countries and not for others. So as much as information as you can give us will help us to replicate the problem. Next slide, please. When we do our investigation, it leads us into three main directions. The first could be that indeed it is a problem. When we try to replicate, we also find the same error that you are experiencing. And we then create a report, and we contact the publisher and say that there is an issue here, and this is content that should be available for this country. Can you help us correct whatever technical issue is behind this issue that is not making the content accessible? Or it could be that, unfortunately, your country is one of the countries that the publisher has decided for that year to exclude, in which case we will also write to you and inform you accordingly that this is the case. Or it could be that when we do our investigation, we are able to access the full text. And therefore, we advise you that could you try by clearing your cache history? It could be interference from your previous historical searches that have interfered with your access, or it could be a technical issue that whereby you would have to then contact your IT department. But whatever it is, we still write back to you and keep you informed of what's happening and what our investigation has found out about the issue that you're reporting. We don't leave you in limbo. We try to help. Okay, next slide, please. If in case it was a genuine access problem whereby we were also able to replicate it, we then work with the publisher behind the scenes and try to correct it. It can take a couple of weeks, it can take some time, but be reassured that we are working behind the scenes in order to correct the issue. And once it is corrected, we then inform you and we say the publisher has confirmed correcting it, and we do a test before informing you that it is working. And a lot of you come back and say thank you, you acknowledge, and your comments, we compile it into a brochure, of which we also share with the publisher. And that also makes them happy. It makes them see that all our efforts are put into perspective. And thank you as well for reporting the problem, because once you report the problem, it not only benefits you, but it benefits all other people in your area and your region. So it is it's a journey where we all help each other. And thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much. Okay, let's change subject. We sent the license 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 10 years ago when we registered, and we received a reminder with a new copy of the license. Should we send it again? Yes. So we encourage registered institutions to sign the license periodically, because sometimes there are changes on the license on our side, because some rules change or some other kind of changes, but also because very often in the institutions, the librarian or the director changes because people retire happily or change job or wherever. And this is a way for us to keep our records updated, which is very important. Sometimes we need to contact an institution because sometimes we need to change passwords or we have important information to send and we discover that we don't have updated contacts. It's very important for us to have our list of contacts updated. And it's very important also that the new authorities in your institution, the librarian and the director, read the license and know what is the good way of using Research4Life, and sign it and send it back to us, and we are very happy. My institution is in a French or Spanish-speaking country. Can you send us the license in French or Spanish? Unfortunately, no. The license is issued on behalf of the publishers that are hundreds. The publisher partners that offer their content through Research4Life, not by Research4Life itself. So it has been impossible to agree to provide translated versions. That's why, as I said before, in the fragmented questions that I mentioned before and that we will see at the end, there are that summary that I mentioned before with the most important points of the license are also in the French and Spanish version of the frequently questions in our web. Okay, we send you the signed license. Could you please sign it and send it back to us? No. As I just said, the agreement is not between Research4Life and the institution, is between the institution and the publisher partners. And of course, it's impossible for us to get all the signatures of all the publishers. So the Research4Life license agreement is a single signature one. We changed some parts of the license and then sign it. Is it okay? No. I'm sorry, there is no opportunity to make changes on the wording of the license, as we would need all the publishers to approve those changes, and it's, as you may understand, it's impossible. So if your institution wishes to take advantage of the content provided through Research4Life, you will need to sign the existing license. Now, we get into a part of the webinar where we will be talking about payments for Group B countries here. Even if you are in a Group A country, I recommend that you keep listening, because you never know when your country could become a Group B country. In all this part will be explained by my colleague Jenna Sharp, which works on payments in the group. Jenna?
Maria, are you doing this slide?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
This is you, Maria.
Sorry. Yeah, excuse me. Okay, my institution is in a Group B country and we cannot pay the fee. Should we sign the license? Yes. As I mentioned before, even the institutions that cannot or decide not to pay the annual fee have access to a significant amount of content, and the signature of the license doesn't commit to payment. So yes, please, even if your institution cannot or decide not to pay, we need the signed license. As I showed you before in the country offer page, this symbol shows the publishers that decided to offer their content to unpaid institutions. I put here a piece of the list of these Vietnam universities. As you can see, there are a good amount of publishers that offer their content to non-paying institutions. And now, as I announced before, is Jenna's time. Sorry.
Thank you, Maria. Is the video on? Can you see me? Okay, all right. Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for participating in this webinar. My name is Jenna Sharp, and I will go over the four most commonly asked questions regarding Research4Life payments. So what is the fee for Research4Life, and what resources does it cover? Firstly, access to Research4Life is free for eligible institutions in Group A countries. However, as Maria has mentioned, you may one day be moving into a Group B category, and so this information is also useful and relevant for you to have. The cost for eligible institutions in Group B countries is $1,500 per calendar year. So this one payment will grant access to all the 5 programs within Research4Life. So as you see, Hinari, Agora, Ori, Ardi, and Goli. So within these programs, you will have contents covering health, agriculture, environment, social sciences, physical sciences, as well as law information. Okay, so how can payment be made? Payment is made in the 4 currencies, which is US dollar, euro, Swiss francs, and British pounds. So this is what is accepted by our treasury in hard currencies. All the bank details for making transfer is sent in our renewal that is in October to all the Group B institutions in the eligible countries. As importantly, please note that WHO does not have intermediary banks that accept payment from within the country. It is only direct bank-to-bank transfer. Next slide, please. So can a payment be made at any time during the year, and is it prorated? So yes, payment can be made anytime during the year. However, please be aware that the Research4Life payment is based on a calendar year, which is January 1st to December 31st. For example, if you pay $1,500 now in June, your access will officially end 31st of December. There is no proration. However, during the renewal periods, Research4Life does offer 3 months from January 1st to March 31st of continued access while the institutions make payment arrangements. So even if an institution cannot renew, they will receive at least 3 more months access after the calendar year. Are there any discounts offered on the fee? And yes, we offer a discount if 3 or more institutions pay together with one single bank transfer. So for example, if you pay with 2 or 3 other institutions, for example, 4 institutions there, you will pay a total amount of $4,000 US instead of $6,000 US. So this means that each institution will put in 1,000 instead of paying 1,500 US. So it's quite a significant discount of about 33%. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. We receive also a lot of this kind of questions. My country is in Group B, and I think it should be in Group A. We feel you. We understand the frustration, and we see it, but keep in mind that the Research4Life eligibility committee meets every year, and they review the assignment of countries to each list against the criteria required by Research4Life, which are has to do with this information here. There are changes. Not every year, but a lot of years, there are countries moving from one group to another. When one of these changes is going to happen, we alert our contacts in the institutions of those countries. We try to alert them with 2 years advance in order for them to make decisions, to prepare themselves, maybe to pay the fee. And we send this information in our major update email that we send to all our contacts in all the registered institutions. We send these emails normally in September. So we are sorry, but if you feel that your country is not in the right list, but we can assure you that the lists are reviewed yearly and all the figures are reviewed every year. Now, We want to subscribe only for one collection, or only for one publisher, or only for this database. What's the price? This is impossible. The fee is a flat amount for all the content offered for your institution. The US dollars 1,500 fee is it's really a low fee for the content offered. It's set by the publishers, and we are not a commercial organization, so we cannot do that. Can we pay to have access to content that is not available for my country or my institution? Research4Life is a development beneficiary program that provide the publications as agreed with the publisher partners. We are not, again, a commercial organization, and we don't sell products. So what we recommend to the institutions that want to have access to some content that is not available, contact directly the publisher and try to get a good price for it. But there is no option to purchase Research4Life content through us beyond what is already available for your institution. And now I will ask Jenna back to answer the questions about the statistics.
All right. Hello again. Can my institution have usage statistics? And yes, they can ask for usage statistics by sending an email to the usual email at the help desk. At present, we are not, however, able to provide, we are able to provide only login statistics. So this counts the number of times that you have logged into our authentication server. With the existing technology, we're not able to provide statistics for downloads. So you cannot ask for document views, journal or article downloads, etc. Who can request the statistics? So as you see, we consider the usage statistics to be confidential information. So we only send to our official contacts at the institution who are the librarian and the director. So if you're not the librarian or the director, please have them contact us directly to obtain the stats. And when can we request them? So you can request the statistics twice. They're processed at the beginning of the year and a second time at the middle of the year. For example, if you ask us for statistics from beginning of this year, 2024 to end of May of this year, we don't have these statistics available. You should come back perhaps mid-July or end of July, and hopefully they will be available then. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I want to publish a paper and I cannot pay the processing fees. Can Research4Life help me? So, some Research4Life publishers choose to make use of the eligible country list of Research4Life to decide themselves to which countries they will provide waivers. That's on them. It's only that they use our eligibility lists to make the decision. So since we receive a lot of these questions and we understand that in some publishers' webs, there are references to Research4Life regarding processing fees waivers. We have a web page with some links to to information on waivers and discounts for article processing publishing charges that are provided by the interested publishers. Here is the link to the page. If you ask this question to our support team, we will send you the link and the information I'm giving you now. This is the page, and here is the list of the publishers with the link to their web pages. We encourage you to contact the publisher directly, asking for information about waivers or requesting it. Okay, we are almost there. How can I know about the next Research4Life training events? So, stay informed about our upcoming training events. We recommend that you check our website, especially the news tab, where all the announcements are published. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. Here is the address, and follow us on the social networks or the groups to receive updates about coming webinars and MOOCs. What I suggest also is if you think, you feel, or that you or your institution need some training, or it would be good to have some training in your institution about how to do a better use of the Research4Life portal, go to our training page. In the training tab of the Research4Life web, there are a lot of materials that you can use, a lot of them. There are videos on how to get started using the portal for new users. There is information about the MOOCs. There are a lot of webinars, really a lot of webinars, and not only in English, that you can see at your rhythm. This webinar probably will also be published there. So we try to have published everything we do, and it's there for anyone consulting it. There is also a page that we call Authors Hub with information about writing a scientific paper and this kind of information that would be useful for someone writing a paper. And there is also the Librarians Hub with a lot of help for librarians in our institutions to do marketing or advocacy for the libraries. We know that sometimes we feel that libraries are not as important as they should be for the management in the institutions. So there are very good pieces of advice in that page. And then there is also another page with free resources open to everybody from our partners, from publishers or like that are not ours, but we think that are very interesting and that are we recommend very much that you have a look there. The last thing I want to say is about the frequent asked questions. We made a big effort in the last 2 years, 3 years maybe, to update this page. It's now very really longer than it was before. We can have a look live later if you want. It's almost not all of them maybe, but almost all the questions we answered in this webinar are there, and more also. So if you have a doubt, if you need more information, please contact us. Please contact us. We are here for that, but please have a look before the frequent asked questions, because is probably your answer is there with links and with wherever info you need. And that's it from me. It's 1 hour. I can't believe, which is what we wanted to do, to have time to answer to more questions now. So if you have more questions, please let us know. Lenny?
Hello, Maria. Thank you,
Hello.
everyone. I found this very informative myself, okay, and
Good,
learned
thanks.
several new things. One note is that I think we can use the PowerPoint presentation and send it to users such as the country connectors and the ambassadors, because it really had a very nice way of laying out many of the key issues. So we appreciate all the work you did with this, and we appreciate your all four of you for contributing. Martin has noted in the chat what the next one is on, so please take a look at that. And it is, I think, June 25th. That's right. Okay, we have some questions that were okay. That maybe we can answer, maybe we could not, but this seems to be a unique one from Caroline. Many thanks to our facilitators of the day. Over time, I've noticed that at Group A countries, e.g. Uganda, when an institution shows interest to describe one of the resources accessible, it will be excluded from accessible resources in the next time. How do we handle such? I'm not sure that's how the decision is made by the publishers, but do you have any ideas of what they can do with this situation?
Can you repeat? I haven't understood the question. I'm sorry.
Okay. We'll try again. I have noticed that in Group A countries, when an institution shows interest to subscribe in a resource accessible from Research4Life, it basically disappears from Research4Life.
Okay, I understand now.
Okay.
I understand now. And Kim is not there anymore. I would love Kim to answer this one, but I will try to do it. The publisher partners have a business. They they can decide, they are free to decide. They are very generous offering their content to our countries. And they are free to decide to stop offering a content if they think that they have a business possibility in a country. That's like this. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. And we are really sorry for that. But we are only thankful to our publishers to offer their content through Research4Life, but we have to respect their business. And I don't know if this answers enough, but this is the answer.
I just remember when I would go to countries to do workshops, the first thing I looked up is what they publishers grant access to and what the publishers don't grant access to. And that would impact on how we would teach. Okay, so it is a real issue, and we empathize with you. Isabel, one of the country connectors, is interested in getting information about new institutions that have registered for Research4Life, since Isabel is from, I'm trying to remember, Kenya, I think, since you sent her a list of registered institutions. So could she just contact the help desk and request that?
Contact us, Isabel.
Yeah, that seemed pretty easy. Okay, let me see if I can find some more interesting ones. Okay, that's Martin's. Okay, thanks for a lot. Thanks a lot for this useful webinar. Very informative. This is from Cecile, and then Eric said, very informative. I've learned some new things to share, like the possible waiver for publication in Group A countries. Thank you. Okay, another thanks, another thanks, another thanks, a thank you. And then I think we're at the bottom.
There's
There
a
are 3
Okay.
months.
from Mir Islam Waja, and he's asking for what is usage statistics?
Okay.
Jenna, do you want to answer that? You're muted.
Thank you. Okay, I can't can't do that. So usage statistics is when your institution uses their password to log into all the resources in Research4Life. So a lot of institutions will ask that to see if the users are actually using how often a month, in a year, and that helps them actually decide whether they need more training courses for their institution, whether it's worth it for the Group B country to pay. So it is very useful. However, as I mentioned, it's only login statistics. So it basically just counts the number of logins you've accessed the resources. It doesn't record anything like document or article downloads. So normally you can go to the publisher to ask for that if you have a particular publication from a publisher, and they will usually have your IP addresses. They have that, the R4L IP addresses, and they could download that for you if you need much more information for statistics. Does that help?
Okay, I quickly checked through the chat, and I think you've answered all the key questions. I like this little comment. Great, helpful insights. Thank you. And then the next one said, thank you so much. I think we had a very specialized audience today of librarians who are on the front line, and this is very, very helpful to them. So again, I want to thank all four of you and appreciate it.
Lenny?
Appreciate the work. Yes,
Sorry, it's
Christine?
Christine. Yeah, there's 4 other questions, I think, in the question and answer from
Oh,
the...
oh, I should check that. Okay. Highlighting usage. I find it challenging to request institution director or librarian write an email requesting for usage, and they're always busy. What about Counter? I don't know about Counter, so there's a question about using Counter. I think you answered that about what is available and the limits. Another person's asking us to develop a platform so it gives us more statistics, and I'm sure we would all love that, but dealing with all these publishers and trying to get it in a manageable way is kind of impossible. Is that correct? Do either of you want to add a little more about statistics? I know it's limited. Yeah.
Yeah, the Counter 5, then you'll need to ask directly to the publisher to get that, because they have the R4L IP addresses for your institution, and they certainly provide more details for downloads. So if you have a certain publication from Springer or I don't know, Elsevier, I don't know, a major publisher, normally they
any of the major publishers.
Major ones, yes. Maybe even the small ones, but the major
Yes.
ones could have the counters for that, yes.
Okay. Again, question about gives more information so that they can justify the payment. But I think we've discussed that there are limits in what you can do because you're more aggregator and you're dealing with all these different publishers, and it would just be one of you would be assigned just to doing that and nothing else, and that wouldn't be helpful in the long run.
Correct.
Well, there are periods of the year that we receive a lot of requests of
Yeah.
statistics.
Yeah.
Which is normal, I guess, is when institutions start thinking about New Year if they will pay or not.
That's right. That's right.
Correct.
Okay. And then the last question and answer says thanks. So I think
There is a question on what are the procedures to apply for R4L support for fee to publish a paper.
Okay. Again, there is no R4L procedure. The thing is that some of the publishers that offer waivers decided to use our eligibility list to determine to which countries, to which researchers in which countries they will grant a waiver. That has nothing to do with us. It's up to them. It's only that they decided to use our list. The only thing we can do, and is what we do when we receive a request like that, is to prepare the web page we prepare with the links to these publisher pages with information about the waivers. But is the publisher who decides, and is the publisher who you need to contact. That's it.
at least is a resource that lists potential publishers.
Yeah, we prepared that page
start.
because we were receiving a lot of questions. So at least to be able to give the users, the researchers looking for a waiver, all the information in the same page. But that's all we can do. It's not Research4Life who grants waivers.
And then there is a question from Richard Lamptey who asks, is the status of Ghana and Kenya going to change any moment because they were transitioning from Group A to Group B?
You will be duly informed about this in our major update by September. The General Partners meeting is next month, and decisions about assignment of countries in different groups will be made then there in July. So we will prepare all the information and we'll send it out in September.
Okay. Again, I think we've now covered all the questions, and you've given the best answers you can under the circumstances to the last one. That information will be coming out in September. So again, I want to thank all of you, and this should be available. Both the video and the very useful presentation should be available very soon. And I think we usually notify the participants when it's available.
I will send the presentation first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, Marcia, appreciate that. I know that sometimes people register and then things come up or they don't have a good connection. So we try to get them the information about where they can find the presentation and where they can listen to the video as soon as possible. Okay, thank you again. And I know Martin's been online, so we will be back in approximately 2 weeks to do the second, more technical session. And all of you, it's the end of the day, so please have a peaceful evening. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much to everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, it was a note in chat. Please know webinar will be posted here as soon as they are available. They'll be posted on the webinar page. Okay?
Thank
so
you.
Everyone, yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye. Everyone have a good evening.
Thank you.
Now.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.